This is KUGAN CASSIUS Fry from London. We're at McGUIGAN'S gym here in Battersea in London. With me, I have got boxer Carl FRAMPTON. All right, Carl?
How you doing, mate?
I was stuck in traffic, so I've missed 10 really good rounds of sparring, apparently.
10 rounds with 2 different partners, so maybe you come down next time.
Definitely, I was hoping to come in and have a spar with you, to be honest, but
we need a good body belt, don't we?
you might have to fight someone like me one. I'm only joking. Fight's coming up very, very soon now. I think it's about less than 3.5 weeks away. Your fight is now. Yeah. So, what stage of your camp are you at the moment?
Well, this is the heavy stuff now. The finish off this week and the week after is the real heavy stuff, and then we'll start sort of taking it down a little bit. But I'm doing sort of 30 rounds a week sparring at the minute, so it's pretty tough at the minute. A few niggles, but that happens. You know what I mean? Stiff and sore. We just have to get on with it.
You haven't fought since you beat KIKO Martinez. You were due to fight, I think, was it back in June or July?
June or July, yeah.
June or July, but the injury you had back then, everything all right for that now?
Everything's perfect, and to be honest, I don't want to keep going on like a broken record. I still think I should have been able to box then. But you know, that's in the past. I just had to deal with it. February's been a long time coming. It's not ideal to be sort of out of the ring for so long, but I had a good camp behind me for the fight that was meant to happen in July. And then I sort of took a bit of a holiday and get straight back in for this one. So if you take the positives out of it, I got a lot of good sparring in for the previous fight that fell through, and I think now it's actually showing. I'm sparring well at the minute.
Obviously, a lot of people would have watched KIKO Martinez and Romero recently in Atlantic City, and they had a lot to say about it and a lot in reference to you. So you watching that, what did you make of that fight, first of all?
I think KIKO looked good. I sort of thought Romero would probably have won the fight, to be honest, beforehand, but I said in a couple of interviews I wouldn't be surprised if Martinez done the business, but he hurt him early in the first round and just beat him up. KIKO looked very, very good, but I just think I think KIKO was all wrong for him. Romero doesn't have enough power to keep someone like that off, and the thing with KIKO is if you're not hurting him to stop him coming forward, he'll just keep coming all night. So Romero just didn't have the pop to keep him off, but a very, very good performance from KIKO.
Was it frustrating for you to watch that, knowing that back in February you knocked this kid out and now this kid's IBF champion?
To be honest, a little bit. You know, you're thinking, you know, that could have been me, but you know, you have to take the positives out of everything. And the positives from that are I beat a world champion and knocked him out. So it's a little bit frustrating, but you just have to deal with it. And you know, this fight coming up is an eliminator for the world title. Hopefully, I'll fight the winner of Matabula and Martinez, sort of February, March time. I think they have to box before Christmas, and then you know I'm the number 1 in the IBF after this next fight. So. Things happen for a reason. I always believed I was going to be a world champion, and you know, so what if KIKO Martinez is world champion before me? As long as I'm world champion one day, and that's all that matters.
Obviously, we know things have changed for you in the last few months promotionally. Before though, how far away from a world title shot did you feel you was before the promotional change happened?
To be honest, I don't think the promotional change has made much difference to where I am in the stage of my career. I think that if I had stayed where I was before, it still would have took sort of this, you know, February, March time to be boxing for a world title. But you know, people think I didn't want to fight Jonathan Romero. We offered to fight we tried to make the fight with Jonathan Romero. He was offered a lot of money to come to Belfast. We would have went to the States as well. His team told us he had a ruptured bicep and needed surgery, which would keep him out until September, and he boxed KIKO in August. So we tried to make that fight, so it wouldn't have mattered who I was with. I don't think that fight would have happened. So it's about me getting myself into a mandatory position now, which is what I'm doing by, you know, fighting PARODI, who's one spot behind me in the IBF rankings. So it's a sensible move for me.
PARODI only lost once in his career.
Yeah.
From France. What do you actually know about him? Have you taken much notice of his career?
We know very little. We've seen very little footage of him. But I tell you what I did see the other day. he was on, remember Fort Boyard?
Yes.
With Melissa, what do you call her? Messenger, is it? And Dirty Dan out of EastEnders.
Yeah.
He done a French version of that, and it's on YouTube. And he failed the task, didn't he? It was like dopey little, like pulling herself along, getting the key, and he failed it. And I was looking at that thinking, I'd have passed that task, like so. That's all we've seen. We've seen a little bit of
psychological edge for you in the ring.
Genuinely is, mate. I was thinking I'd have definitely won that task, and he fell off. He fell off the bar. So I don't know, mate. You can take what you want from that.
Well, I don't know. Listen, I know Shane's probably got some strange tactics, but if you took anything into that, then you'll think you're a cleverer person than I am.
Take the positives from everything. Positives from everything. So he can't possibly task like that in Fort Boyard, and I don't know, mate.
Okay, interesting. Interesting.
Have a look.
Bring it up in the post-fight interview.
I will. I've already thought about that, mate. So I already know what I'm going to say. So
obviously we know Scott Quigg fights next week now, meant to be on the Hay Fury bill. That cancelled. He's fighting at the O2 next week against Andres Salinas. So do you know much about Salinas? Would you rate Scott's chances of taking that WBA title?
I've seen a little bit of Salinas. One of his fights, he didn't look amazing. The other fight I seen, he looked quite good, fast, nice sort of head movement, sort of typical Cuban. He's a decent fighter. I think Scott will be getting there as favourite, but it's not going to be an easy fight. You know, none of these Cubans are really poor fighters, to be honest. He came from a lot of good amateur pedigree, but Scott, I think, will win that fight. And fair play to him, you know. And I have to give Quigg credit. He's been sort of given that WBA title, and he's come out in publicly said that he doesn't want to win it until he wins it in the ring. So you have to give him a bit of credit for that.
So I know, like, every time, obviously, we speak to one of you two, the name gets mentioned, and I think it will until you two get in the ring together. It will still keep happening. But you with a title, him with a title, that makes sense, and there's a good chance that he will have that next week.
Yeah, and there's a good chance I'll have it sort of early next year. So whatever happens, everyone knows how much I want that fight, whether it's the next fight, whether it's, I don't know, in 2, 3, whatever time. I want to fight that. I want that fight. Quigg knows I want it, and I think everybody's crying out for it. But I feel like we're going on a bit. You know, I'm always talking about him, and I'm sure it's the same for him. He's always getting asked.
You're only talking about it because idiots like me keep asking the same question. So I will always ask you about Quigg, and I'll always ask Quigg about you.
I thought you'd have learned by now, big man, and you've got the exclusive, you've got the interview, the sit-down interview that Sky wanted, so...
Don't ever forget that. And I had to literally drag you down into the chair because you was on your way to the upstairs, I think.
That's right, we came in, we done it, and that was it.
A couple of weeks ago, Kid Galahad and Jazza Dickens fought. Great finish by Kid Galahad to beat Jazza Dickens. There were some words on Twitter going on between yourself and Kid Galahad.
Big Mick.
Mick Hennessy as well, whoever runs Hennessy's Twitter. What are your thoughts on that?
Listen, Kid Galahad he's a half-decent fighter. He's a wannabe Nas. He thinks he's a monstrous puncher, but he's not. I said before the fight that it was going to depend on how well Dickens done the weight, and I think he sort of killed himself to make the weight. Honestly, in my own opinion, I had Galahad 1 round up at the time, but apparently he was behind in all judges' scorecards. That's what we've heard. So it was a close fight. Dickens sort of just died. You could see it after about 6.5 rounds, 7 rounds. He was fading, and he get hit with a good shot. But it's just, I don't know. He's not the smartest boy in the world, is he? And if you want to talk yourself into a fight like that, then so be it. But you have to fight someone in the top 100 in the world at least before you can start making, big fights like that. But whatever he wants, he can say what he wants. And
in that division, domestically,
hold on. No, he's like. Do you remember Junior Witter used to annoy Ricky Hatton?
Yes.
It's kind of similar to that, isn't it?
Is he annoying you then?
Nah, he's. Yeah, well, I suppose he's sort of in the background. He's like a little. I don't know what's annoying, like a. No, like you're sitting you're at a picnic and there's a wasp like around your ear, like buzzing, and it's trying to get your sandwiches and stuff, and it's kind of what he's like at the minute. But it's not
interesting. It's an interesting analogy.
Yeah.
What I was saying was, you and Scott are considered at the top of the pile of this domestic division in this country. Would you say that Kid Galahad's even knocking on the door of that?
I'd say there's me and Quigg, top 2 in the division. Galahad's rightly in the 3rd spot, but I don't think he's ready for the big dogs yet. It's my honest opinion. He's a good fighter, but good fighter, decent fighter, and but still has a lot of improving to do.
Yeah, listen, I don't blame him for calling you out or trying to make the fight. I don't blame him, and I'm sure you don't either.
Not at all, not at all. This is boxing, and it happens, and you know, it's just you just have to get on with it. But you know, I'll fight whoever my team thinks it's sensible for me to fight, and at the minute, fighting Kid Galahad isn't a sensible fight.
So no to Mick?
No.
All right.
Not yet. Fight someone in the top 100, maybe.
Okay. Boxing aside, what else has been going on in the world of Carl Frampton?
Not a lot. Go on, get married the week after the fight.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Are you getting married in Ireland?
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Well, I don't know actually. Because it's the week before the fight. All I'm thinking about is the fight. So I'm pretty calm about the wedding at the minute, but after the fight I may start shitting myself. I'm not sure yet, but I'm pretty calm about it at the minute. But I'm looking forward to it.
I'm sure your wife to be won't really want to hear that, to be honest.
She's all right. She'll understand. So,
It's been a couple of weeks for you then, really, isn't it?
Right, mate. It's massive. Going to Thailand, nice honeymoon, just relax, eat like Thai red curries and coconut rice flat out for 2 weeks. Can't wait.
I haven't been to Thailand since 2006.
Listen, I'm not going to the same place as you went to.
No, I'll tell you what, when I went to Pattaya, I was a single man and I went to Pattaya.
Good man. I'm obviously not a single man because I'm going on my honeymoon, but I'm just going to lie and relax and eat food, mate. That's pretty much it.
It's the first time I've been to this gym. It's a good setup you got in here. I'm gutted I missed you sparring, to be honest, but it took me a while to get here, to be honest.
It's a great setup. It's small, but it's everything we need. It's in a great area. We've got a doodle bar just over the road, so if you want to pint in between sessions or whatever, you can pop in there. We've got Vivian Westwood hangs about here sometimes. Yeah. Shane's sitting there. He had to help her. She fell off her bike one day, gone into her shop, and he had to help her pick her up. Is that
true story?
So he's more kind than he looks. So he picked Vivian Westwood up off the floor and put her back on her bike. So
you never hear about all these little stories that go about, like the good people doing boxing.
It happens.
Victoria Beckham Studios is just over there.
Yeah.
What ever see her?
I haven't seen her. Apparently she's there all the time, but I haven't seen her. I think she comes in and like I don't know, she gets teleported in or something like that. And
do you think Victoria Beckham has heard of Carl Frampton?
No, she hasn't. But we have a mutual friend. I'll give you a plug. Gabe Turner, David Beckham's is his pretty close mate. So he might have heard. So maybe he says, Victoria, you need to have a look out for this lad. He's a pretty decent boxer. I don't know. Okay. Never know. I got pranked by James Corden. That's right. What happened? We said that we were going to Beckham's Christmas party. Oh, that's right. So I was on my way home and I was in Gatwick and I got a phone call from Gabe. He puts me on. Sorry, it was a voicemail. I left a voicemail and he puts Corden on the phone. I've never met Corden, but he's like, Frampton, what's going on? We're all hitting David Beckham's party. Oh, it would have been great if you had came. And I was on my way home, like absolutely gutted. But they carried it on for a good sort of solid 6 hours, but it never happened. But I had the voicemail on my phone. Apparently, have the voicemails wipe out after a certain amount of time.
On what? An iPhone?
On a Samsung.
Oh, what?
No, it was an HTC before, and it's not there now. Got it, but it was a pretty funny voicemail. It was good.
It's a shame, isn't it? You could have played the voicemail here now. We could have proved that you're not lying.
People mightn't believe me, but I've got 3 witnesses here, and they'll say it's true.
All team McGUIGAN, so.
Yeah, well, biased, but I don't know.
Definitely. But the bill on the 19th, I think Eamon O'Kane's on the bill, Jamie Conlon, Daniel McShane, you know, some top Irish boys on the bill.
You've got O'Kane and Kerry Hope, who's a good fighter, ex-European champion. That's a good fight. Conlon's fighting this French guy, and I think this is going to be a really, really good fight. And the French guy's got about 7 losses, but they're all in the early part of his career. And I think it was kind of like, you know, he was going into them fights being told not to win them. And he's knocked out Jerome Thomas. He knocked out, at Super Bantam, by the way, he knocked out another guy called Aslam, another good French amateur boxing in Athens, I think. Knocked him out at Bantam. So he's won 9 of his last 10. I think that could be fight of the night, but looking forward to Casey, obviously, coming back, and Mark McCulloch. It's a really good bill, and we're trying to get another fight as well. There might be another. There's 4 title fights in the minute. We're trying to get another fight on there. So it's probably one of the best bills Ireland has seen in a long time.
This will probably be your only fight of the year against Parody.
Yeah, obviously with the wedding and going away and stuff.
You're disappointed that you've only had 2 fights this year?
You know, I would like to have sort of 3 or 4, 3 minimum a year anyway, maybe 4. But I've been lucky in my career not to have too many setbacks or hiccups. I've had one there, obviously, with a year, but that's been it, and it's sorted now. So hopefully, it's been a wee bit of a setback and a bit annoying, but again, take the positives. I got a good training camp in for the fight that was postponed, and I'm flying at the minute. So next year is going to be a big year for me. Hopefully, I'm world champion by late February, and I'd like to squeeze a couple of defences in after that.
All right, well, it's interesting times in your division and for you, and for, you know, like I said, all the other boys in it. Kid Galahad, Scott Quigg. It's interesting times. So this time next year, I think we'll have a clearer picture of where everyone is.
Yeah, that's it. That's 100% right. You've got me and Quigg sort of knocking on the doors of world titles. He's got his shot. I'll get mine in February, and then the kids, or Barry from Sheffield, whatever you want to call him. He's in the background, sort of knocking on the door, but he's still a little bit away, you know what I mean? He's not that close yet, but getting another couple of wins under his belt against good opposition, and then, you know, he can start talking about fighting me or Quigg.
All right, well, we'll look forward to these days anyway. But thanks for inviting me down to your gym.
No problem, mate.
And shame Barry wasn't here for longer.
Yeah, doesn't like you, I don't think. No, he doesn't. He loves you, Cookie. He just had to rush off. He's been here a while, so... busy man, you know.
I can imagine. Just tell Barry it took me 2.5 hours to get here stuck in traffic.
I know. If you had told him, he might have felt sorry for you and hung about, but I don't know.
I think Barry's one of these people, if he's got to go, he's got to go. Just
that's it. He's away. He's gone. But you'll get him again, I'm sure.
I'm sure I will. All right, Carl Frampton, thank you very much for talking to iFilm London. And listen, we'll look forward to your fight and seeing what happens.
Thank you. Good man. Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS with Carl Frampton here at McGUIGAN'S gym in Battersea for iFilm London. Thank you very much.